Famous British people who passed away in 1922. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Sir Ernest Shackleton. He was born in February 1874 and he died in January 1922. His age was 47 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart attack. He was a pioneering Antarctic explorer. He led the famous Endurance expedition. His leadership in harsh conditions saved his crew, making him a symbol of courage and determination. He contributed significantly to polar exploration, mapping vast uncharted areas. His expeditions inspired countless adventures. John Kirk. He was born in December 1832 and he died in January 1922. His age was 90 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a physician and naturalist. Kirk was a key figure in African exploration, serving under David Livingstone. He played a significant role in anti-slavery campaigns. He documented Africa's flora and fauna, contributing to scientific knowledge. His diplomatic efforts in Zanzibar left a lasting legacy. James Bryce, 1st Viscount Bryce. He was born in May 1838 and he died in January 1922. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart failure. He was a renowned historian, author, and diplomat. He is best known for his influential book, The American Commonwealth. His career included serving as British ambassador to the United States and advocating for American rights. He was a champion of understanding between nations. William Christie. He was born in October 1845 and he died in January 1922. His age was 76 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an astronomer, royal. From 1881 to 1910, he modernized British astronomy by introducing photography into celestial studies. His work contributed to the precise mapping of stars. He also enhanced Greenwich Observatory global reputation. John Butler Yeats. He was born in March 1839 and he died in February 1922. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a celebrated portrait artist. John Butler Yeats was the father of poet W.B. Yeats, known for his expressive depictions of Irish cultural figures. His work captures the spirit of Ireland's artistic renaissance. He was a central figure in Dublin's literary circles. Lady Theodora Glycan. She was born in December 1861 and she died in February 1922. Her age was 60 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was appendicitis. She was a pioneering female sculptor in Britain. Her works include many royal commissions and were highly regarded for their elegance. She broke barriers for women in the arts during her time. Sir John Benn, 1st Baronet. He was born in November 1850 and he died in April 1922. His age was 71 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a significant political reformer. Benn was an influential member of the London County Council. He championed public education and social reforms. His legacy influenced future generations of public service. Lady Mary Victoria Hamilton. She was born in December 1850 and she died in May 1922. Her age was 71 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. She was notable for her marriage to Prince Albert I of Monaco, though their union was short-lived. Her lineage tied her to Europe's royal houses. She was known for her philanthropy and cultural patronage. Sir Leslie Ward. He was born in November 1851 and he died in May 1922. His age was 70 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart failure. He was famously known as Spy and was a leading caricaturist for Vanity Fair. His satirical portraits of prominent figures captured Victorian and Edwardian society. His artistic legacy remains significant. Dorothy Levitt. She was born in January 1882 and she died in May 1922. Her age was 40 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was morphine poisoning. She was Britain's first female racing driver and a pioneer for women in motorsports. Her daring achievements included setting speed records. She also promoted women's independence through driving. W.H.R. Rivers. He was born in March 1864 and he died in June 1922. His age was 58 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was strangulated hernia. He was a groundbreaking anthropologist and neurologist. His work on post-traumatic stress among soldiers during the First World War was revolutionary. He bridged science and psychology to improve mental health understanding. Belgrave Ninnis. He was born in September 1837 and he died in June 1922. His age was 84 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Royal Navy surgeon, surveyor, Arctic explorer, and leading Freemason from London. He graduated as a Doctor of Medicine from University of St. Andrews in 1861, and the same year he entered the Navy as an assistant surgeon. Alexander Graham Bell. He was born in March 1847 and he died in August 1922. His age was 75 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was diabetes complication. He was a Scottish-born Canadian-American inventor, scientist, and engineer who is credited with patenting the first practical telephone. He also co-founded the American Telephone and Telegraph Company in 1885. Alfred Harmsworth, 1st Viscount Northcliffe. He was born in July 1865 and he died in August 1922. His age was 57 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was complications from blood infection. He was a pioneer of modern journalism, founding the Daily Mail and Daily Mirror. His innovations in publishing reshaped the British press. He was a key influencer in early 20th century media. Thomas Brock. He was born in March 1847 and he died in August 1922. His age was 75 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a renowned sculptor whose works include the Queen Victoria Memorial outside Buckingham Palace. His classical style left a lasting mark on British public monuments. Princess Helen of Waldeck and Pyrmont. She was born in February 1861 and she died in September 1922. Her age was 61 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was heart attack. She was a member of British royal family by marriage. She was the fifth daughter and child of George Victor, Prince of Waldeck and Pyrmont, and his first wife, Princess Helena of Nassau. Wilfrid Scowen Blunt. He was born in August 1840 and he died in September 1922. His age was 82 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a romantic poet and outspoken critic of British imperialism. His literary works often reflected his political activism. He was also known for breeding Arabian horses. Sir Charles Santley. He was born in February 1834 and he died in September 1922. His age was 88 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was one of the most celebrated baritones of the Victorian era. He performed in operas and oratorios, earning the knighthood for his contributions to music. Montague Gluckstein. He was born in July 1854 and he died in October 1922. His age was 68 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was the director of Salomon Gluckstein Tobacco Merchants and one of the founders of J. Lyons & Co., a restaurant chain, food manufacturing, and hotel conglomerate created in 1884 that dominated British mass catering in the first half of the 20th century. Marie Lloyd. She was born in February 1870 and she died in October 1922. Her age was 52 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was heart and kidney failure. She was a leading figure in British music halls, celebrated for her comedic performances and relatable songs. Her wit and charm made her a beloved entertainer of her era. George Cadbury. He was born in September 1839 and he died in October 1922. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a visionary entrepreneur who built the Cadbury chocolate empire. He also championed worker rights, establishing the model village of Bournville for his employees. Henry Jones. He was born in November 1852 and he died in February 1922. His age was 70 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cancer. He was appointed a lecturer at the University College of Aberystwyth in 1882 before becoming a professor at the University College of North Wales. In 1894, he became professor of moral philosophy at the University of Glasgow, where he remained until his death. Henry Pierpont. He was born in November 1878 and he died in December 1922. His age was 44 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was terminal illness. He was a British chief executioner, carrying out over 100 executions. He is remembered for his professional approach to a grim duty, upholding British judicial practices. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.